Playoffs, the best records in the American Football Conference. If indeed the season ended right now, Cincinnati, Denver, and Miami would be in the playoffs, and the two wild card teams would be Buffalo and the New York Jets. There are other teams still fighting for the wild card berth, those four. The Jets today are being hosted by the Cleveland Browns, a team in the playoffs last year with an 11-5 record. Disappointing this season, only 5 wins, but looking to knock the Jets' playoff hopes down today. From Cleveland Stadium, it's the New York Jets and the Cleveland Browns. Today's game is brought to you by Schlitz, the master brewer's brew. Behind every Schlitz is a man who knows his beer. By the new Chrysler Corporation. For 1982, Chrysler has the cars, the quality, and the prices America needs. By Radio Shack, a division of Tandy Corporation. And by Schlitz Malt Liquor, for a taste that's big and smooth and bold. The Schlitz Malt Liquor Bull. Cleveland, Ohio, temperature in the mid-30s. Cleveland Stadium, the largest outdoor refrigerator in the National Football League. 60,000 seats have been sold for this battle between the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets. Hello, everyone. Dick Enberg, and welcome to Cleveland, Ohio, for this game that is so very important for the Jets' playoff hopes and for the Browns in exercise in trying to keep their heads high. The key to the game, of course, first of all, we should say is that Merlin Olsen, our partner and valued commentator, is not with us today. He's working on his Father Murphy Tuesday night NBC series, and we're going to go it alone with a lot of special features here on NBC Sports. We talked with both coaches, and for the Cleveland Browns to win today, they say they must protect Brian Sipe, and that means against the New York Sack Exchange, Mark Gastineau and Joe Klecko, they have 18 apiece, the Jets with 55 overall to lead the National Football League. Brian Sipe, the quarterback of the Browns, anticipating today that he would have to pass under pressure, offered us these comments yesterday.
I think that the last thing a quarterback can think about is being hit. Our attention is downfield, and that may be our saving grace. I feel that most quarterbacks are a little like drunks in a car wreck. We don't really know that it's coming, or if we do know that it's coming, we don't really have the luxury of being able to do anything about it. And I think this state of relaxation or unpreparedness actually allows us to absorb the blow. We allow the guy to do what he wants with us, and possibly avoid injury that way. That's how I've always felt about it. I feel if I don't know it's coming, I have a better chance of surviving it.
Brian Sipe, who was the NFL Player of the Year last year, leading the Browns into the playoffs, and he today will have 2 fullbacks that will start the game, Mike Pruitt and Cleo Miller, as Sam Rutigliano will have the extra back end to protect him against the charges of the ends Gastineau and Klecko. You heard both Bryant and Axe talk about the injury suffered by the Jets with the loss of Wesley Walker, and Freeman McNeil may only be able to play spot duty. The thought by Walt Michaels today is he'll throw to his backs, Bruce Harper particularly, and watch the tight end Jerome Barkham. There's Walt Michaels and the American Eastern Division leaders, the Miami Dolphins. Buffalo in second place, with the Jets a game and a half out in third, but in a wild card spot. If they win their last 2, probably will make the playoffs. Sam Rutigliano's Browns, they're in last place. They've lost 3 in a row and 5 of their last 6, but nevertheless, many feel are a team capable of upsetting the Jets today. Cincinnati leading the way with Pittsburgh after that loss on Monday night. They too fighting for a wild card berth. The Cleveland Browns have won the toss. Newly acquired Gary Davis and Dino Hall expected to be deep for the Browns, but we see that it is Greg Pruitt joining Hall as Pat Leahy in the green and white of the Jets will kick it off, and immediately the wind knocks the ball off the tee. We are blessed with a rather good December day in Cleveland, Ohio. The wind is not blowing except occasional gusts, one we just experienced, and the temperature in the mid-30s. The field has some slick spots, but in pretty good condition. End over end to Dino Hall at the 1. 20. And Hall struggles to the 26-yard line. Kevin Long, number 33 on the tackle. Brian Sipe, the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, will have two fullbacks, as we mentioned, 214-pound Miller, along with 225-pound Pruitt to help block those defensive ends. The receivers, Dave Logan, Ricky Feature, he's a deep threat, and, of course, one of the top tight ends, Ozzie Newsome. The offensive line, Doug Deacon, one of only 3 left tackles in 32 years of Browns history. Shepard back in the lineup with Sullivan, Delamalure having a great year, and Cody Rison. Mike Pruitt, and a flag is down as Pruitt gets a couple up the middle. Abdul Salam, Stan Blinka in on the tackle. We'll check the penalty flag. Offside against the Jets. So New York, an early mistake as they mark off 5 yards against the Jets. Let's check the defensive alignment for New York. Gastineau, Salam, Lyons back in the lineup after sitting out a couple of games with a hamstring injury, and Klecko. Again, Gastineau and Klecko lead the NFL. Each has 18 sacks. Greg Buttle, Stan Blinka, and Ron Crosby for the leading Jets tackler, Lance Mell. He's out with a concussion. Jesse Johnson at that left corner spot that has lost both Jackson and Dykes with injuries. Jerry Holmes at the other corner, the brilliant sophomore Darrell Ray, and veteran Ken Schroy at safety. 1st and 5, Pruitt again. And it may well be in the early going, both teams will test the inside running game, trying to control the ball, eliminate possible mistakes on a somewhat slick turf and on a cold afternoon. 2nd down, and call it a long 4. Pruitt, as you saw, over 1,000 yards for the 3rd consecutive year, and he's now joined by Greg Pruitt in the backfield. Reggie Rucker also lined up, and that's Feature in motion. Complete to Greg Pruitt, and a 1st down at the 46. Yards for Brian Sipe as he goes to Ricky Feature. Blinka made the tackle at the 46-yard line. See Feature in motion. Pruitt out of the backfield to the left, circling over the middle. Good protection by Deacon as he fought off Gastineau. And Pruitt slipping the tackle of Crosby. He's slippery, and he likes playing on an off field. 1st down at the 41-yard line. Near midfield before Abdul Salam, and Mark Gastineau can wrap him up. A gain of 8. Pruitt from Purdue University, in the Pro Bowl each of the last 2 years. Now the Browns, taking the opening kickoff, have moved to the Cleveland 49-yard line, 2nd and 2. Let's see if Sipe goes long. He's got a down to play with. Effort is close to a 1st down at the Jets 49. Tire center, the Jets defense there to stop him. Short of the 1st down, it'll be 3rd and inches. So the Browns will bring in their short yardage unit. Brian Sipe, his 8th year after graduating from San Diego State. Played for Don Coryell there. His best year was last season. This year, not so good. In fact, he leads the NFL in interceptions with 23. Up the middle goes Mike Pruitt. I don't think he made it. He was stopped cold at the line of scrimmage by a strong surge in the center of that Jets defense. Stan Blinka with his helmet right on the ball carrier. Referee Jerry Seaman, the umpire Frank Sinkovich, head linesman Leo Miles, line judge John Leimbach, Paul Betts, Bill Quinby, and Bill O'Brien round out the officiating crew. Crowd says go for it. And Sam Rutigliano apparently will. He has Pruitt and Charles White in the backfield on 4th down and inches. Newsome and Oden, a pair of tight ends, with Oden flanked right. White. First down. They ran right behind Joe DeLamelure, who has been regarded as the outstanding Browns offensive lineman all year long. Here's DeLamelure, number 64. Cody Rison, 63, and then White right over the top. Joe DeLamelure, he calls himself a blue-collar guy. We'll get that reaction after this next play. It's first down at the Jets' 47. Sipe leaving Pruitt into block, and he finds the other Pruitt, Gregg, at the 42. A fumble, and the Jets have recovered at the 44-yard line. So the New York Jets have the first turnover of this game. Marty Lyons, number 93, came up with a football. Greg Pruitt trying to struggle for extra yardage, double teamed on the tackle, and they knocked it away. Crosby got there first. Actually, it was second. It was Holmes who twisted, and Crosby and Blinka finishing him off. Greg Pruitt dropping the ball, and Lyons came up with a recovery. There it is, stripped away on the second effort by Crosby. So first down, Jets at their own 44, and Durking gets the call to the 47. Scott Durking for 3 yards. New York Jets offensive alignment with Richard Todd at quarterback. Freeman McNeil will see spot duty. He's not in there now. Tom Newton is the fullback, and Durking replacing McNeil. Bobby Jones for the injured Wesley Walker. Derek Gaffney on the other flank. Jerome Barkham, the tight end. They like to go to Barkham. They figure they will today. Ward, veteran Rasmussen, Fields having an all-pro year. Alexander and Powell, the front five. 2nd and 8. And Newton gets short yardage. Stops shy of the 50-yard line, and you can see both sides, the running backs, running gingerly, not really able to dig in on that soft footing. Ambrose and Scott made the tackle of the former University of California star. He blocked for Chuck Muncy with the Cal Bears. Bruce Harper has replaced Newton. There's the defense. Brown, Bradley, and Alzado, the front three. The 4 linebackers are good. Jackson a hit. Ambrose and Clay Matthews. Ron Bolton and Hanford Dixon at the corners. And Scott and Beeman, the safety. 3rd down and 4, and a draw. Bruce Harper, first down at the Cleveland 44-yard line. The Browns were looking past, and Harper, the great all-purpose back of the New York Jets, picks up first down yardage. Right from the line of scrimmage, Todd slipping it off to Harper, and that defensive line caught in the backfield, and Harper with good yardage for a quartet of Browns can make the stop at the 43-yard line. Give him 7 yards. Harper out, and Freeman McNeil has replaced Harper in the Jets backfield. No score in the game. 9:12 remaining in the first quarter. McNeil's first carry, and he gets to the 39-yard line, slipping the tackle of Robert Jackson. Lyle Alzado, number 77, following the play, made the stop. 6 minutes and no score. The Jets' first possession after the fumble recovery at their own 44. McNeil, All-American at UCLA, leads the Jets in rushing this year. First down from the 39. By McNeil for a yard or 2 gain. Dick Ambrose with good coverage, number 52 for the Browns. McNeil showing excellent hands with that reception. Jets without Wesley Walker, and last week in Seattle, Todd missed him, although he completed 27 passes. 21 went to running backs. And with Walker out of there, he figures to use them often again today. Jones and Gaffney to the left. Bobby Jones to the right. 3rd and 5, and Todd going long for Harper, and incomplete. Todd trying to beat the linebacker Clay Matthews, but Matthews did an excellent job. Todd Todd looking right all the way and then finding Harper down the sidelines, but Matthew had him well covered. Harper a juggling try, but could not come up with a football. So on 4th down and 5, into punt will be Chuck Ramsey without a right shoe. And this cold day, Ramsey will deliver the ball. That right foot just sock covered. He'll have his comments about that technique later. 26 Dino Hall at the 10-yard line of Cleveland. Ramsey, the best net punting average in the AFC, 37, has done a good job of getting the ball out of bounds in this spot, but not this time. Into the end zone and a touchback at the 20-yard line. And a little... So the Jets taking the ball in the end zone, and it'll be Cleveland's ball at the 20-yard line after a 38-yard punt midway through the first quarter. Cleveland Stadium, they sold over 60,000 seats. There are thousands of no-shows today. Well, you can really miss them in this big place. No score. The Browns have lost 5 of their last 6 and 3 in a row against the Jets, who have lost only twice in the last 11 games, but losing last week to Seattle. Sight from his 20. Could not find Cleo Miller in the left flat. It'll be 2nd and 10. Joe DeLamelure. We mentioned that he's a blue-collar guy. Yeah, that's how he identifies himself.
I got to be a blue-collar guy because there's no other player born in Detroit, drafted by Buffalo, and traded to Cleveland. And I just hope that Gary, Indiana, doesn't get the next expansion team.
DeLamelure having what the Browns consider another all-pro year. 2nd and 10. Incomplete, trying to find Ozzie Newsome at the 30. Darrell Ray, free safety, covered for the Jets. So Sipe misfiring on his first 2 attempts on this series. There are his numbers in 1981, but the most significant statistic is that he has just 16 touchdowns and 23 interceptions. That leads the NFL. Last year, it was 30 touchdowns and only 14 interceptions. Open is Logan, and a first down at the 35-yard line. Jesse Johnson and Kirk Springs with a tackle, 15 yards to Dave Logan, the former Colorado star. Greg Pruitt and Logan coming to this side. Here's Pruitt, 34. He goes to the sidelines. That clears it over the middle for Logan, who faked outside and then cut back inside wide open. First down at the 35-yard line. Logan, free sports star at Colorado, football, basketball, and baseball. Really credits his basketball background as becoming an outstanding receiver. That's Newsome splitting left. Newsome, and he's out of bounds at the 43-yard line. 8 more yards for the Browns. Ozzie Newsome, the Wizard of Oz from Alabama. Sam Rutigliano, a very popular head coach. Second down and 2 at the 43. Come up with a ball at the 25-yard line. Number 51, Greg Buttle, and New York has its second fumble recovery. Sipe trying to toss it to Mike Pruitt, and it was Gastineau who knocked Sipe away from the ball so that Buttle of Penn State could make the recovery. It looked like a good toss. Pruitt appeared not to be looking for it. There's Gastineau knocking Sipe away and freeing Buttle for the recovery. So, timeout. The Jets have the ball at the Cleveland 29-yard line. When we return, no score. Municipal Stadium in Cleveland, some Jets fans, and they had a chance to stand and cheer as New York with a break. You see, Cleveland has had its problems in the first quarter, being outscored 75-31, and the Jets hoping they can maintain that pattern. Ball at the 29-yard line after Buttle's recovery. 6 minutes left, first quarter, no score. Todd on a quickie, and it's Barkham with short yardage on first down. The veteran tight end from Jackson State. Walt Michaels, his responsibilities once the game starts. What's he have to do once that ball is in the air?
Well, I guess you'd have to say that as the head coach, the responsibility, the overall way we're going to operate throughout the football game. I take part with both the offense and defensive part of it and make sure that the decisions, when they're finally made and the final thing is said and done, that Walt Michaels will be responsible. I don't like any of my assistants to be taking unnecessary responsibilities because, after all, that is the duties of the head coach.
Michaels, when you're the head man, the buck stops right there. Not happy with that misfire, and it is 3rd down and 5. 5 yards picked up on the first down play on the pass to Barkham, and now 3rd and 5. Richard Todd, #1 draft pick out of Alabama, having his best year. 21 touchdowns, only 10 intercepted. It's the first year that he's been on the plus side, TDs versus intercepts, and that's such a critical statistic. Many feel he's really matured, and this is his 6th year, become the true leader of that offense. Audibilizing. The 31. The Browns, who have only 25 sacks all year, 30 less than the Jets, get the first today, and it comes from the veteran Scott from Kansas State. Todd, his initial receivers covered, and then he felt the pressure from outside as Scott came through untouched. Into punt formation is Chuck Ramsey. No one back for the Browns. The line of scrimmage is the 33. The Browns figure this may be a fake. And they're going to take the delay of game. 5 yards actually works to the benefit of the punter here. It gives him a bit more room to try to drop one inside the 10-yard line. Walt Michaels, who played as an all-pro linebacker here in Cleveland with the Browns in the 60s, Paul Brown dynasty, 1952 to 61. An all-pro the last 4 years, captain of the Browns. Got a lot of fond memories about those teams. Year in, year out, championship caliber ball clubs. Otto Graham and Marion Motley and Lavelli and Speedy and Groza, on and on. So there's no one back to return this punt. He pooches it toward the sidelines, but gets too much of it, and it's another touchback for the Cleveland Browns. And it's testimony to the slippery going on the field that the Jets did not go for a long field goal. The Browns get it back and have survived 2 fumbles. Veteran defensive end Lyle Alzado, who once sparred or was in an exhibition match with Muhammad Ali. He was saddened, as most of us were, at the news that Ali had gone on with the fight, and as an older man is hardly a shadow of the once great heavyweight champion, losing last night. First down from the 20 for the Browns. Pruitt and White in the backfield, and Sipe goes to Charles White. He's out to the 25-yard line, tripped up by Stan Blinka. White featured on NFL 81 as a series of Heisman Award winners. So many recently have been brilliant in the National Football League, and White just looking for his opportunity. Thus far this year, 259 yards rushing. Sipe, 2nd and a short 5. Thus far is 4 for 6 passing and 35 yards. Flags down as they corral White. Marty Lyons got there first at the 20-yard line, and determine whether the Jets were pulled offside. Ball start. So 5 yards will be marked off against Cleveland. Back to the 20-yard line, and it will be 2nd down and 10 as Cleo Miller is sent in by Sam Rutigliano. Going back to the Jets' possession.
False start, number 65 on the offense prior
Henry
to the
Shepard,
snap.
the left guard, guilty. The sack by Scott took the Jets out of field goal range. They were at the 23-yard line at the time. That would have amounted to a 40-yard field goal try, but the sack took them back to almost a 50-yard try, and Walt Michaels elected to go to the punt. Draw, Mike Pruitt breaking tackles and close to a first down. Stopped at about the 28-yard line. And a flag goes down. So the Jets, not answering the whistle, continue to push Pruitt back, and they're going to pick up a personal foul. Let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network. All the way to the 43-yard line.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 27 on the defense. First down.
Jesse Johnson trying to help out on that tackle. Let's see what he did. As Pruitt, excellent job of running. Ran through 2 tackles and then gathered in by 4 of the Jets. Just a matter of too much too late.
Come on, Joe!
Sight going long. And a trio of Jets had Ricky Feature well covered. Johnson, Ray, and Schroy. And it was interesting there that Sight went in the direction of the man who just committed the penalty, Jesse Johnson, hoping maybe to catch him with his head down. But the Jets were very alert and read that one well. .425 left in the first quarter. Brian Sipe, despite the fact he's in the top 3 in passing yardage, the Browns are in the bottom 5 or 6 in scoring. They just have not been able to get the ball in the end zone. Fake draw. And wide open is Miller at the Jet 44-yard line. First down. Ken Troy with a tackle. 13 yards on the play. Cleo Miller from Arkansas A&M circling all the way over the middle, and Sipe given enough time to be able to find that pattern open, and Schroy, the safety, making the tackle. Brian Sipe, the kind of quarterback who can pick the best of defenses apart if you give him that kind of time. And thus far, Klecko and Gastineau unable to get to him. Charles White at the 40, and finally dumped at the 39. Buttle on top. And a couple of Jets down low to make the tackle. At the 39-yard line, a gain of 4+. Call it 2nd down and 6. No score, 3:20 remaining in the first quarter. The Jets looking ahead to a possible playoff berth, but can hardly afford a defeat. A defeat would not eliminate them, but certainly would put them in a terrible position and would need help from elsewhere. If they win both games, providing Miami and Buffalo do not tie, if they win both games, they're in the playoffs as a wild card. And the Browns trying to knock them out. White to the 31. It would be a first down, but it looks as if we have a holding penalty against the Jets. Sipe hit just as he threw the ball. Learns the bad news. That was an interesting comment by Sipe in his opening remarks, that in a way, as a quarterback, he's oblivious to that pass charge, much as a drunk in an auto accident who's totally relaxed. He said, I just can't think about the pressure around me. I might tighten and really injure myself. I just go limp as I throw. Number Number 64, DeLamelure, guilty of the hold, as we read the lips of referee Seaman. At the 49-yard line, each team hit with a couple of penalties. The Browns have it 2nd and 16. Greg Pruitt into the backfield with Mike Pruitt. They are not related. Greg, of course, from Oklahoma, and Mike from Purdue. Mike moves out as a flank right. Greg. Only a couple. Nice play by Ken Schroy, who hustled up from the secondary position. Schroy from Maryland, helped by Crosby of Penn State. Schroy, as a freshman at Maryland, was an offensive back, and he was in the same backfield as another fellow you might remember, Randy White. Can you imagine? The Terrapins had Schroy and Randy White in their freshman backfield, and both were shifted to defense as sophomores, and both then going on to make it as starters in the NFL, and White regarded maybe as the very best of the defensive linemen. At the 47 of the Jets, 3rd down, 14. Down. The Jets may have been offside, and Gastineau finally gets to sight, but I don't think that one's going to count. It appeared that the Jets jumped a count too early. That'll cost New York 5 yards and bring up 3rd down and 9. So Michaels has seen his team make a couple of costly penalty mistakes. Gastineau and the left tackle Abdul Salam moving before the snap. Now Sipe may have been using a snap count of 2 and went to a 3 that time, and that all in vain.
Offside, defensive, left tackle.
So they say Salam was offside. Gastineau apparently was as well. At the 42, 3rd and 9. No score in the game. 2 minutes, 2 seconds left in the first quarter. On this drive for the Browns from their 20, 6 plays plus 4 penalties. Play action. And Logan can't come up with it at the 25-yard line. Dave Logan often will make that catch. It was thrown low, but usually he'll skid down and come up with them. Sipe did a good job of feeling the pressure and stepping up in the pocket to find himself throwing time. Would have been a 17-yard gain. Instead, the Browns will have to punt it. Retigliano, remember, is Gamblin' Sam, even when the games are serious in nature as far as the Browns' hopes. Here, down 5 and 9 and out of it, Retigliano can really afford to roll the dice. So nothing would be unexpected today. Bruce Harper stands at the Jets' 10. Cox's kick, a beauty, and does go into the end zone. So on the touchback, and barely, that ball wasn't more than a yard into the end zone. It'll be the Jets' ball at the 20-yard line. Pursuit, relentless pursuit, one of the themes of the Browns' dressing quarters. Into the end zone in this first quarter, and the Jets have it at their own 20-yard line. Breaking into the open is Freeman McNeil, 11 yards to the Browns' 31-yard line before Clarence Scott can bring him down. So McNeil, a big hole up the middle. Take another look at it. 225-pound back from UCLA. Nice hole wedged open by number 60, Dan Alexander from LSU. First down, Jets at their own 31. Again, a drive up the middle to the 35, maybe even the 36-yard line for Tom Newton, and he gets 5 more. Good carry. Robert L. Jackson and Dick Ambrose on the tackle. Well, Wesley Walker is not starting today, and that man started for him. We asked him, since he's not as well known, if he'd like to introduce himself.
Now starting for the New York Jets at wide receiver, one of the best receivers in the league, Bobby Jones from Texaco Tech.
Texaco Tech, because Jones, although he attended briefly Youngstown and Millikan, did not play college football. He paid his own way for a tryout with the Jets and won a spot on the squad. Second down and 5. Todd finally finds a man open, and it's a first down before Ambrose can make the tackle of Derek Gaffney, number 81 of Florida. 10 yards on the play, and the Jets with a couple of first downs, and that apparently will be the last play of the first quarter. And the whistle, the end of the first period here in Cleveland, Ohio. The New York Jets battling for a playoff. The Cleveland Browns fighting to knock them out of the postseason go-around are scoreless after the first quarter. First quarter, there are the numbers. 2-1, the Browns outgaining the Jets. Richard Todd only 7 yards passing. No score. The Jets had the 2 opportunities, recovering a couple of fumbles, one at the Cleveland 29, but could not convert. We open the second quarter, ball at the 46-yard line, first down. And Durking plows to the 49 of the Browns, a gain of 5. Durking wearing the same number 25 as his dad. Hanford Dixon, the cornerback for the Cleveland Browns, and he's done an outstanding job in this his rookie year out of Southern Mississippi. And we asked Dixon the basic difference in making the transition from college ball to playing here in the National Football League.
Well, the toughest thing for me is keeping my eyes off the quarterback and going back to the receivers, because mostly in college we played a lot of zone coverage and we kept our eyes on the quarterback rather than the receiver. And that's been the biggest adjustment. One of the biggest adjustments for me thus far today is getting my eyes off the quarterback and coming back to the receiver, because once you come back and you're still on the quarterback too long, when you come back to the receiver's gone.
So you've got to watch the receiver and not just the quarterback, although you saw him take the pre-snap look at the quarterback. Delay of game against Richard Todd. And so it'll be second down and 10. That takes away the 5 yards he picked up on first down. And again, Walt Michaels has to be disturbed by the penalties.
Delay of game, number 14 offense.
Michaels, 52 years of age, in his 5th year with the Jets. Played his college ball at Washington and Lee. A great block from Rasmussen, and he's finally bounced out of bounds inside the Cleveland 45 by Hanford Dixon. A 9-yard play, and 66 Randy Rasmussen with a fine block to clear him. Here's Dixon as he sees the play develop, reading the receiver as he was cleared out by A.D. Jones, then seeing that Harper had the short pass, had to come up and make the tackle. Clay Matthews also on the play. Dixon comes out on 3rd and 1 as the Browns go with an extra defensive lineman. And it's a first down to Kevin Long, who was able to dive off right guard for some easy yardage to the 43-yard line. Long from South Carolina, where he was in the same backfield as Clarence Williams, the San Diego Charger running back. Leaping over, and Long just riding piggyback his fellow running back for the first down. This drive started at the Jets 20. Now a first down at the 43 of Cleveland. Freeman McNeil to the 39. McNeil did not practice all week, and Michaels told us yesterday that he thought McNeil in an emergency could see some spot duty, but apparently he felt much better today and being used more by the Jets. That's Tom Newton back to the huddle. Telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Cleveland Browns and the National Football League is prohibited. On 2nd and 7, play action. Todd. And his receiver's well covered. He threw it on one hop to Derek Gaffney. Lyle Alzado putting the pressure on the quarterback. Gaffney see Jams going deep, and then Gaffney curling over the middle and trying to help Todd out, coming back to the ball, but Todd at that point had to get rid of it and threw it low. Alzado came here from Denver for number 2, a number 3, and a number 5 draft in '79. He was the NFL Man of the Year in '77 with the Broncos. 3rd and 7. Complete to Barkham. I don't know if he was touched or yes. Finally, the whistle by the official on the spot appeared that maybe he had not been touched. That is not enough for a first down. A gain of only 4 yards, and will bring up 4th down and a short 3. Ron Bolton on the coverage for Cleveland. Barkham this year with 35 catches, 7 of those for a touchdown. And of course, it was his dramatic touchdown reception in the final seconds at Shea Stadium that beat the Miami Dolphins. And for that moment, gave the Jets the edge over Miami. But since then, the Dolphins have won, and the Jets lost last week at Seattle. 4th and about 2.5. Throw for it. Complete. Bruce Harper at the 29, first down. And did Harper take a jolt from Ron Bolton? Many around the league, as they've watched 5'8", 177-pound Bruce Harper say that he indeed may be the most valuable Jet, as he was voted by his own teammates last year. He does so many things, returns kicks, he runs well, and this case he comes up with a key reception. Harper from Kutztown State. And he's a Jet because Walt Michael's son was a student at Kutztown with Harper and recommended Bruce to his dad. Todd's 22nd touchdown pass of the year. That's more than he's ever thrown with the Jets. And for Jones, only his 2nd. If you saw the start of NFL '81, they showed you last year a touchdown from Todd to Jones, and it was almost the identical play in the identical spot on the field. Jones between Scott and Dart, a beautifully thrown ball, and the Jets have the first score of the game. Fields to snap. Pat Ryan to hold. Pat Leahy to kick. And it is good. So with 11 minutes and 6 seconds remaining in the first half, the New York Jets on an 80-yard drive get the touchdown. Todd to Lamb Jones. They lead the Browns 7-0. And for the Browns and the rest of the NFL since way back in July, the heat of summer. The New York Jets lead 7-0 on an 80-yard drive, 11 plays, 28 yards on the touchdown, and Bruce Harper's key 4th down catch kept the drive alive. Leahy to kick off, Greg Pruitt and Dino Hall on the Browns goal line. Deep to Hall. 10, 20, 30, 40, and all the way to the 50-yard line. Another big gainer. He took that one a yard deep in his own end zone, and he finally stepped out of bounds at the 47-yard line. So that's 48 yards on the return. Mickey Schuler finally pushed him out of bounds. There's Schuler with Leahy, number 5, hoping someone would get to him first, although he had the inside cut off. On first down, Sipe, plenty of protection. Now goes deep to Newsome. Complete at the 25. Brian Sipe, a resourceful quarterback, not buckling under pressure, got out of the cup, waited and waited, and finally ad-libbed to Newsome. And this is just communication between passer and receiver. Newsome finally saying, I'll go deep and maybe you'll find me. they went over the top. Ken Schroy, and a first down, 28 yards in the play. Newsom has had another great year. 63 catches coming in. From the 25, again, great protection. Rucker, first down at the 9-yard line. Rucker, the veteran from Boston University, and it was Sipe again, roaming around, plenty of time, and waiting for someone to break open. And Rucker found the spot. He's caught at least one pass in 23 consecutive games, has Rucker. Look at the protection as they really do a job on Gastineau and Klecko. And Rucker, an excellent catch, well thrown ball. Coverage by Jesse Johnson. First and goal. Trailing 7-0. The ball at the 8-yard line. Draw. Pruitt loses one. Stan Blanca from Sam Houston State. And helping out Joe Klecko from Temple. It'll be second and goal from near the 10-yard line. Interesting note, both quarterbacks are 7 for 10, with Sipe having more yardage, 93 to Todd 64. Rucker to the right. Logan left. They like to go to Logan down near the goal line. Logan can't hang on to it. Logan arguing that they held his jersey and continues to argue in the end zone. So Dave Logan, well covered, but Sipe drilled the ball in there, and Logan unable to hold on. Jerry Holmes was the defender for the Jets. It's third and goal at the 10, and Brian Sipe has called timeout. The Browns have had their problems right here. They've been able to move the ball from one end of the field to the other, but have not been able to successfully get it in the end zone. They've lost several very close games, and in most of those games have had the ball in the opponent's end of the field inside the 20 and have not been able to score. And they want to take advantage here on third down, so Sipe and Ritigliano in a conference call. Statistic for the Cleveland Browns. Fourth lowest in points scored, despite the fact they're in the top 5 in moving the football. Win the battle on third down. Those are little posters from the Cleveland Browns locker room. Third and goal at the 10-yard line after the timeout called by Sipe. Calvin Hill in the backfield, the veteran playing in his last home game here in Cleveland. Greg Pruitt, even if he'd caught the ball, he'd have been at the 6-yard line, and catching the attack of Gastineau was Brian Sipe. So Matt Barr comes in for an apparent field goal for the Cleveland Browns, and again denied at least on those 3 downs starting from inside the 8. Barr from Penn State, of course, picked by the Steelers, kicked earlier with San Francisco, and then acquired by the Browns on waivers. This will be a short 27-yard attempt. Get 3. Matt Barr culminates the drive with his 12th field goal of the year. And the score, early second quarter, 7-3 Jets. Tackle. Guard and ends, they go right behind that tackle. No mistakes. And for the Jets, they lead 7-3 over the Browns. Steve Cox from Arkansas to kick it off. Bruce Harper and Kurt Sohn deep for the Jets after Matt Barr's 26-yard field goal. It's a sailor towards Sohn, and he plays it wisely and will take the touchback. Well, Richard, Todd comes back on the field with a Jet offense. Todd 7 for 10, including a 28-yard touchdown pass to Lamb Jones. Only the second for Jones all year. Todd, you see his rib cage heavily armored, protected by that protective pad. Broke his ribs 4 weeks ago. Barkham, the tight end, in motion. McNeil out to about the 23. Hear the pads popping on that contact. Robert Jackson, Robert L., first man on the hit. Number 50, Don Good, a little slow getting up. Second down and 7. Center Joe Fields leads the Jets out of the huddle. Fields from Widener. Jones, incomplete. It'll be third down and 7. Joe Fields, and many feel that he is a Pro Bowl candidate. He was helped very much by his wife in this game. She actually helped him learn how to snap the football.
Well, at the time, my wife and I were thinking about getting married. I was long snapper for the New York Jets, and I told her that if she really wanted to marry me, that she'd have to catch my snaps. And that's how we got married.
Well, there's a way to propose and there's a way to ask for her hand. In this case, both of them. It is third down and 7. 5 defensive backs for the Browns. Todd sends his backs in the pattern and throws into a crowd. Intercepted. Clay Matthews. And he's down at the 33-yard line. Todd forcing that pass. There were 4 Browns around the intended target. And on the ricochet, Clay Matthews has his first of the season. Now Matthews playing on the far side. Look at how he hustles over toward the ball and able to get in and make that interception. Nicely done by Matthews from the University of Southern California. See, look at the coverage. It was 56 Jackson. It appeared to get the ball first. An apparent unwise choice by Todd, and Cleveland has the ball. These good fans of Cleveland. Let's go Cleveland Browns as they chant. 7 minutes, 58 seconds remaining in the first half. 7-3, the Jets lead. The Browns after the interception at the 33 of New York. Sight to Newsom. First down at the 21. 12 yards to Newsom. Greg Buttle and Ken Troy made the tackle. Sam Ratigliano seems to show so little emotional attitude on the sideline. That seems unlike his character.
Well, it's kind of like the duck. If you ever seen a duck on the top of water, he moves along unflappably and nothing's going on. But if you went underneath the water, you see his feet going about 100 miles an hour. So in as much as, you know, I try not to be emotional on the sideline, there's a wheel going on inside me as it's going on inside everybody else. But I think you got to take a page out of the book of Tom Landry, who I have a great deal of respect for. I don't think you can gain any confidence in your team if you're on a sideline screaming and yelling at officials or yelling at players, because there's too many things going on during the course of the game with all the decisions that you have to make, and you have to have complete control of yourself. And I think the players respond to that in a positive way.
So basically you have to hide your feelings, and kudo passed along to his colleague Tom Landry, the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. You saw Cleo Miller wrestle down for a loss at the 23, so it's 2nd and 12. To the 17-yard line is Mike Pruitt. You heard the shout offsides, and a flag did fly. Line judge on the near side making the call, and it's against the Jets. And Walt Michaels showing some of his emotions, and it They're like mental errors in baseball, any sport. A mental mistake usually fits under the category of penalty. There's no defense against that, and it may hurt the Jets again.
Encroachment, number 73, defense.
Joe Klecko, guilty on that call. Klecko, a big Eagles fan as a youngster growing up in the Philadelphia area. 5-yard penalty makes it 2nd down and 7. Dave Logan and Ricky Feature, along with Charles White and Newsom in motion. Wide open is White. Darrell Ray made the tackle for the New York Jets inside the 15-yard line. That'll be shy of a first down. 4 yards on the play to White. 79 Heisman winner. Finished number 2 in NCAA rushing history to Tony Dorsett. As he passed the records of Mike Garrett and O.J. Bell, Anthony Davis, Marty Schottenheimer, defensive coordinator, with his back to you. Logan right, Newsom left. Feature lined up at fullback and now in motion. 3rd down and 3. Sight. And incomplete and almost intercepted. He threw to Logan, and Jesse Johnson was there for the Jets. That was a case where Sipe really didn't get much help from his receivers as he was scrambling to the right. No one came back to help him out. And the only one even close was Logan. And the official on the far side involved in a contact with that play, and let's hope he's not seriously injured. You know, it's really amazing that that doesn't happen more often. Those men always have their eyes on the players and not necessarily the ball, and are certainly candidates for being blindsided. Field goal unit comes on for the Browns. Matt Barr. It's interesting, the Browns prior to this year had only 3 kickers in their history. They had Lou Groza, Sam Baker, and then Don Cockcroft for 13 years, and they've had 3 just this year. Steve Cox has kicked 1. There's the official who was injured on the play. And Barr the second. He's okay. And now let's go to the field goal try. Apparently, that official will go back for repairs. That means added responsibilities for the other men in those zebra striped shirts. Jacobs was the 3rd kicker who started the season with the Browns, and Barr now becoming the 3rd. Jacobs, Cox, and Barr, 3 in 1 year after 3 in 32 years. This one, a 31-yard attempt. That Barr slipped as he approached the ball, and the kick was low. And Barr talked to us yesterday, and he was worried about just that sort of thing. As a sidewinder, soccer-style kicker, as you make that move to the ball, often that left foot will give away.
Well, conventional kickers do have a disadvantage on a sloppy field because we come in on an angle. Now, the straightaway kickers, they have a little bit of an advantage because they step flat and don't have the tendency to slide. Now, with a soccer style and, as I said, conventional, you try to plant flat and plant with your weight over your planting foot, and then you should be okay. San Francisco has a treacherous field. Cleveland's field can be treacherous.
And indeed, those remarks prophetic as Barr misses from 31 yards. You see him slip, that left foot slip. The kick was low and partially blocked. And the Jets now have the ball at their own 20-yard line. Richard Todd with his club still in the lead, 7-3. Sends both wide receivers to the right. Flanker screen to Jones, and he didn't hang on to the ball. Tried to run before it arrived. It'll be 2nd and 10. Jones, 9.1 sprinter's speed. Olympian, 400-meter relay, won the gold medal. Montreal. Temperature in the mid-30s in Cleveland. Flurries expected later this afternoon. Big hole, and Harper shoots forward to the 26-yard line. A gain of about 6 before Ron Bolton of Norfolk State, number 28, can come up to make the hit. That Judson Flint of Memphis State in there got a piece of that last tackle. 3rd and 4. Blitz, and Todd misses Harper. Harper, the ball behind him, could not come up with it. And someone did an excellent job blocking on that left side of the Jets line to pick up what appeared to be a cornerback dog, and Todd unable to find Harper, incomplete. Chuck Ramsey, 35-yard average on his first 2 kicks. Of course, the first 2 both went into the end zone. This one should not. Dino Hall back at the 35 of Cleveland. Short and out of bounds at the 43-yard line of the New York Jets. So Ramsey having his problems punting the ball. Maybe that foot's a little cold today. 4:37 remaining in the first half here in Cleveland, and the New York Jets in front, 7-3. Today, the Jets had 2 fumble recoveries and could not score off those opportunities. The Browns have had 2 breaks here in the second quarter. Intercepted pass by Clay Matthews at the Jets 33. The field goal was blocked, and now a 17-yard punt by Chuck Ramsey, and the Browns have the ball at the New York 43. Sipe over the middle, and Pruitt drops the ball at the 37-yard line. Let's go back to Ramsey's punt, only 17 yards, and as we told you earlier, Chuck has elected just in the last 3 years to kick barefooted, all except for a stocking or 2.
I punt barefooted because in college I was a quarterback and a punter and place kicker, and I wore a square toe to quarterback in, and it's impossible to punt in a square toe, so when it came time to punt, I would slip it off, kick it to the sideline, and punt barefooted. And if we had to attempt a field goal, of course, I was in the game and already had the shoe on, and I'd go on and kick it.
Haley went on to say that his feet do get numb in the cold weather, and that may be the case today. Nothing there at all for Mike Pruitt except a squadron of New York Jets. Ron Crosby, 55, leading the charge. They spot the ball at the 42-yard line. A gain of 1. It's 3rd and 9. This Jets defense with 55 sacks to lead the NFL, but they've been held off by the Cleveland Browns blockers today. Got to give credit to the men up front for Brian Sipe, center Jerry Sullivan, the guards, Henry Shepard and Joe DeLamalure, Deacon and Rice in the tackles. And Sipe finally goes down. Abdul Salam, the second wave, with the sack. Lyons, Flecko, and Gastineau were in there, and Salam followed up with a 56th sack of the year. Number 1 ahead of Oakland and Detroit. And that doubles the entire total of last year for the Jets when they had 28 for the season. Already 56 this year. So unable to take advantage of the short punt. The Browns will kick it. Bruce Harper, solo safety at the 14 at the other end. 10 men on the line of scrimmage with the Jets. And Cox calls time. He did not apparently like the punt protection alignment. Maybe they had only 10 men on the field. Cleo Miller is coming onto the field now. So apparently the Browns did not have the full complement of players to protect Cox. And he wisely called time. The second timeout used by Cleveland in this first half. So as we get down to the final minutes, they have but one left. And there are 3 minutes and 28 seconds remaining before the intermission. Bryant Gumbel, Pete Axelm, and the NFL 81 crew. Some most interesting features at halftime. Oh, you look ahead at some great action tomorrow. National Football League action here on NBC as we're down to the final 2 weekends of the season. And the playoffs, of course, the big bowl picture. NBC with an all-time lineup on January 1st. Good kick. Harper at the 13. And brought down by Judson Flint. Excellent coverage by Flint. 38-yard punt, no return, and the Jets will start deep in their own end. The New York Jets have never defeated the Cleveland Browns. They're 6-0 in their meetings with Cleveland. Of course, they've not beaten the Seattle Seahawks and lost twice to Seattle this year. They hope that pattern doesn't continue. On first down, Tom Newton crosses the 15 to the 16. Al Zato, along with 97 Thomas Brown. He's starting for the injured Marshall Harris at left end. They spot it closer to the 15-yard line, so call it 2nd and 8. Al Zato. He just looks as if he came into this life as a defensive football player. .245 remaining. First half, the Jets in front, 7-3. Block by Chris Ward, 72 on the hole. And Durking picking up the big yardage out to the 31-yard line. We understand we've lost video. Your picture in parts of the country. We apologize. We'll give you a football audio commentary as Todd sets his line at the 31-yard line. And the Jets, who had, as we told you, 2:30 left after that last play, did not spend a timeout and did not get a playoff before the 2-minute warning. So we'll see whether or not that proves to be important if they should drive deep into Browns territory. Timeout here in Cleveland, Ohio, Municipal Stadium. And with 2 minutes remaining in the first half, it's the New York Jets 7 and the Cleveland Browns 3. We apologize not only for the loss of picture, but we understand we're also on a limited line because we've had to patch up an emergency audio system, and now we understand we are back. And with that good news, we'll give you a chance to share this important message. Pat Hayden, we wish him a speedy recovery of knee surgery earlier this week. Preceding announcement furnished as a public service by the National Football League. 2 minutes to go. First half in Cleveland. The Jets with the ball and a 7-3 lead have a first down at their own 31-yard line. Outside to Bobby Jones, trying to get out of bounds, and he does not. Clock continues to run out at the 41-yard line. The Jets will not huddle. Clock ticking away. They have all 3 timeouts remaining. They used 35 seconds without a play before the 2-minute warning. With 1:36 left. Down the middle, open is Jones. He's got the speed, and he's finally brought down at the 34-yard line. And the Jets again don't call timeout with 1:27, 1:26, 1:25. And now, Todd, Well, wisely called time. He had his team hurrying into position. He has plenty of time left. He's now in Browns territory. And the ball at the 34 with the first down. That was a 25-yard pass play. Jones, with that speed, you have to respect him deep. Look at that little dancing quick step. Finds the opening, and at this point, it appeared if he could have gotten outside, he was gone. Clarence Scott saved the touchdown. Happy feet is how they often allude to a man who has that kind of quickness. Watch this as he sets up that defense. Just where is he going? And Scott, an excellent open field tackle, number 22. 2 timeouts left. Todd comes back to the New York Jet huddle, trying to add to a 7-3 lead before halftime. 1 minute 23 seconds left. You see the field, and there are mud spots. It's in remarkably good condition considering this time of the year. It's not frozen, but as you watch the runners, you can see that there are places where they have to work delicately. And thus far, the straight ahead charges seem to have been more successful than trying to go wide. That it's basic disaster for the running back to try to go outside. He just can't get that footing to cut sharply back upfield. Trying to add to their 4-point lead. First down at the Browns' 34-yard line. That's Jones, far left. Looking for Jones. He's got him. And tackled immediately around the 23-yard line by Hanford Dixon. So Lamb Jones with that great speed, you've got to respect him deep. And he did the quick curl on the sidelines, and another first down. 11 yards on that play. 103, 102 left. It's Durking to the 20, the 15, and he's to the 12-yard line. And time is called by the Jets, their second time out. And Durking eating up big chunks of yardage up the middle, running behind Fields and Alexander. Here it is again. Stan Waldemore, number 70, also with an excellent block on the hole, as Waldemore from Nebraska now playing in that interior line. Robert L. Jackson finally made the tackle. 57 seconds left as Michaels talks with his quarterback, Richard Todd. Todd, if you look at Sam Rutigliano, his father is the Dean of Education at University of South Alabama. I understand his mother is working on her doctorate from a learned family and a very bright young man himself. So much of this game is mental. You talk to the players and all the physical talent in the world, but as you make the adjustment in the professional ranks, the ones who truly succeed carry all that physical prowess and complement it with a bright mind and the ability to be able at least to execute intelligently. Todd at the 12-yard line. This is the 6th play of the drive. He's got 4 first downs in 5 plays. From the 12. Both Bobby Jones slotted and Lamb Jones to the left. This is Durking to the right. To Durking, and he's tripped up. No flag. Incidental contact. Tom Darton, 27 on the coverage, the veteran Cleveland Brown safety, who is the all-time pass interceptor for the Browns with 45 lifetime. 2nd and 10, 52 seconds left. Derek Gaffney, number 81, replaces Bobby Jones. It was Todd to Lamb Jones, 28 yards for the Jets score in this quarter. 26-yard field goal by Matt Barr. That's the score. Durking hit immediately at the 8-yard line by Clarence Scott. That's short of a first down and brings up 3rd down. The clock running at 40, 39, 38 seconds. 1 timeout left for Todd. 3rd and 5 at the 8. 30 seconds. Looking for Gaffney. He's covered. Throws it. Touchdown. Bruce Harper. So Todd showing considerable composure as he was wanting to go to Gaffney. Well covered. Picked up Harper out of the backfield between Ambrose and Matthews, and the Jets have a touchdown. Bruce Bruce Harper, watch him, 42, bottom of your picture, circling out. Little move on Ambrose, and then cutting into the end zone and hit beautifully by Todd, or there wasn't much room which to throw that pass, and Todd zeroed in perfectly. Try for point by Leahy is up, and it is good. And the Jets, with 24 seconds left in the first half, have opened up a 14-3 lead. Bruce Harper with a score. Here it is from the defensive point of view. Watch out, he's looking off to the right for Gaffney, covered. Then he spots Harper, and a perfect throw. Now, Bruce Harper from Little Kutztown State. He was a free agent pick in 1977, and proud to be a Jet, and happy he met Walt Michaels Jr.
Walt Michaels' son was a freshman at Kutztown State when I was a senior, and not many people graduate from Kutztown and have the privilege of playing in the pros. So I was very happy that he was there. So I kind of made a deal with Walt Michaels that if he gave me a good tryout, that his son would be taken care of down at Kutztown. And I made it. Unfortunately, Walt's son graduated now, and I don't know what's going to happen to me next year.
Handsome man, Bruce Harper, and he's happy with that touchdown. Remember, he had a key fourth down catch on the other scoring drive for the Jets. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network. Drive. And the Jets lead 14-3 with 24 seconds remaining. Dino Hall, who had a 47-yard return his last time, and Greg Pruitt are deep. It's to Hall's side of the field. On the run at the 12. 25, and finally dropped around the 33-yard line. Ball from Glassboro State. 20 seconds left for the Browns and Brian Sipe to try to get a quick score. Remember, they have but one timeout remaining. Now, Richard Todd, a pair of touchdown throws, and he continues that plus mark, passes over interceptions. 23 now against only 11 intercepts. That's better than a 2-to-1 ratio and places him up high on the NFL pass rating list. On the ground, Mike Pruitt. Fans don't like the fact that the Browns don't gamble on a long pass. Marty Lyons made the tackle. Sam Rutigliano, whether he's undefeated or looking for his first win, Rutigliano truly is an unflappable coach. He takes his team to the locker room trailing by 11. We're at the intermission. The Jets looking to the playoffs. Down to 32 degrees, and the wind gusts 15 to 20 miles an hour. Sam Rutigliano's Browns able to manage but a field goal in the first half. And Walt Michaels getting a couple of touchdown throws from Richard Todd. One to Lamb Jones and the other to Bruce Harper. The halftime statistics. The Jets, after a slow start, out rushing and out passing the Browns. Total yards 195 to 137. Turnovers 2-to-1. Time of possession almost exactly even. The Jets more opportunistic, and particularly in the second quarter through the air. And New York will get the ball first here in the second half. The Jets close out their season next weekend at Shea against the Green Bay Packers. And perhaps that will be a matchup of two of the hottest teams down the stretch, as the Packers, with that great passing tandem, receiving tandem of Jefferson and Lofton, coming into their own and pulling off big wins against the Lions and Minnesota the last couple of weeks. And they, too, fighting for a playoff spot. Brian Sipe and Richard Todd, the opposing quarterbacks, tuned up. And we're set to go. Don't forget, tomorrow, another full schedule of games here on NBC, with NFL 81 kicking off our coverage at 12:30 Eastern Time. Cox to kick off. Bruce Harper and Kurt Sohn of Fordham are deep. Sohn on the far side. Some of the folks apparently heading for home after the intermission. 60,000 plus tickets sold, but we would guess maybe about 35,000 here in the stadium at the moment. Beautiful kick, end over end to Harper, 1 yard deep. To the 20, the 30, And a great return out to the 39-yard line, and a flag goes down. They'll tack on 15 more yards for a late hit. So the Jets come out. An excellent return by Harper. Dino Hall made the tackle, and they felt somebody came in late, and they'll tack on 15 yards. Right in front of Sam Retigliano. So the Jets will open this third quarter in excellent field position. Retigliano, 49 years of age, in his 4th year with the Browns. He's only the 5th head coach in Cleveland history.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 48 on the defense, first down.
The injured official, Leo Miles, back spasms. The x-rays were okay. He's going to be all right. We're pleased to report after colliding with some athletes in the first half. Down to the 43-yard line goes Tom Newton of the New York Jets. Henry Bradley made the tackle after a short gain of 3. Richard Todd, Freeman McNeil, and Tom Newton the backfield for the Jets. Jones, Gaffney, and Barkham the receivers. And the offensive line, Ward, Rasmussen, Fields, Alexander, and Powell. Barkham split right with Gaffney slotted inside Jones. Lamb Jones on the left. Durking just into the lineup, gets to the 42-yard line. Short yardage. Robert L. Jackson from Texas A&M made the tackle. For the Browns defensively, Thomas Brown for the injured Marshall Harris at left end, Henry Bradley in the middle, and the veteran Al Zato on the right side. Don Good, Robert L. Jackson, Dick Ambrose, and Clay Matthews. He had an interception in the first half. Ron Bolton and Hanford Dixon at the corners. Tom Darden is now playing free safety for Autry Beeman and Clarence Scott at strong safety. 3rd and 6 at the 42. For Bobby Jones, and incomplete. Hanford Dixon on the coverage. So the Jets will have to give up the ball as the punting team comes on. And Chuck Ramsey, who had a long first half in his punts, the last of which was just 17 yards. Dino Hall will drift back to return. Joe Walton, the offensive coordinator, with a cap on backwards. There's Hall. Guy Bingham of Montana will snap it back to Ramsey. Bare foot of Ramsey. He pooches it down the near sidelines. Good kick. And Sohn had it well covered. Instead, just inside the 5-yard line. So Ramsey, who has had an outstanding year with a net punting average of 37 to lead the AFC, did not have a good first half. It comes up with a 36-yard ball dead inside the 5. Walton, the former tight end, with a headpiece, and Richard Todd, working in such close coordination. Brian Sipe just into the huddle. Miller and Pruitt have done a good job of protecting Sipe thus far. Dave Logan, Ricky Feature, and Ozzie Newsome. The skirmish there in the end zone, or just perhaps some enthusiasm. We're trying to get the Browns going. Someone threw a foam football on the field. Deacon, Shepard, Sullivan, Delamalore, and Rice, and blocking for Sipe. Mike Pruitt hit almost immediately. Greg Buttle, 51. Marty Lyons in on the stop. Pruitt able to get back to the 5, and that's all. Off to Pruitt, trying to find a hole, and you see Buttle moving in from his left side linebacker spot. He saw the hole and met Pruitt head on. Good play by Buttle. His father is a FBI agent, and in college sang the barbershop quartet was the bass. Pruitt has only 25 yards in this game. From his own end zone, going for Rucker. Incomplete. Broken up on the far side by Jesse Johnson, and almost up for grabs. Doug Deacon, he's battling Joe Klecko today. The number 73 Deacon of the Browns has gone through an injury-plagued season. He enumerated just some of them.
So far this year, I've had an arthritic condition in my knee caused by bone spurs. I've had a sprained ankle. I've had 2 cracked ribs. And I've had a mild concussion, so I can't remember most of the rest of the injuries. So that is basically what's happened to me all year long.
Deacon said he had so many x-rays that when he walks into the kitchen, he turns on the microwaves. He's named the NFL Man of the Year for Cleveland this year. He's quite a quality person. Sipe trying to run it out. Gets the first down at the 17-yard line. Well, let's go back to Doug Deacon as he has his hands full with Joe Klecko. There's Deacon 73, Klecko 70, both 73. And then Lyons comes in, a stunt by the Jets, and Deacon winds up out of play. He's out of the end zone. Played his football at Illinois, as we said earlier. What a heritage. Left tackle for the Cleveland Browns. Lou Groza, Dick Shafrath, and Doug Deacon. That's been it in 32 years. First down on the scramble by Sipe. Out of bounds at the 16, they mark it. Cleo Miller. And he's down across the 25, close to a first down. Linka and Johnson made the hit. Sipe is now 10 for 19 passing. They're going to measure for the possible first down. Blinka 54 has credited his mother's strawberry malts for helping him to grow up. He said he just had a devil of a time gaining weight as a youngster. Just around 200 pounds, wanted to play defense, and thanks to those strawberry malts and a loving mother who made a lot for him, he gained 30 pounds and made his college team and now playing in the big time. Just short of the first down. 6'2" and 234. Browns were 11-5 last year, and on this field in the playoffs, who will ever forget? Certainly not that man. With time running out, Brian Sipe trying to get a touchdown in the end zone from the 12-yard line. Oakland intercepted, and it was the Raiders who went on to the Super Bowl when the Browns could not kick a field goal, and because of that did not try deep in Oakland territory. Pruitt, I don't know, well, he struggles forward. Actually, Lyons had him stopped short of the first down mark, but Pruitt able to skid ahead, and it looks as if he does have the first down at the 27-yard line. Yes. Marty Lyons, number 93, making that last tackle. Can you picture him in high school at 6'5" and 260 as a baseball pitcher? Once struck out 23 men in one game. Just he'd be halfway to the plate before he released the ball. First down play. Incomplete. Right off the chest of Mike Pruitt. Pruitt, who has 59 catches this year, second on the club, and last year he set a Cleveland record with 63. Out of the backfield, both teams using their backs on this slick field. Sipe looking him off. Boy, can't hit him in a better spot. And by the time he tried to make the juggling catch, a couple of Jets had jarred him away. And one of those Jets, Marty Lyons, is slow getting up. I don't know quite, other than that being up on the scoreboard, what that is. So Lyons coming in to help out on the tackle. Jarred. He appears to be okay. Timeout. 14-3 Jets. 12 years in the league and a great star. And he will be missed not only by the fans in Cleveland, but his many followers around the NFL. Over 6,000 yards rushing. NFL Rookie of the Year with the Dallas Cowboys out of Yale University, 1969. Second and 10 for the Browns at their 27-yard line. 11 minutes left in the third quarter. Sipe to Feature at the 40. First down. Johnson made the tackle. Ricky Feature, his first catch of the day. 13 yards for him. Mark Gastineau, number 99, defensive left end. Let's watch him as he works against 63, Cody Rison. Can't get to Sipe. Well, you can see his strength. And now he's saying, hey, there's a penalty flag. And he is right. Gastineau, as animated as any player in the game.
Number 60. Okay.
Cody Rison trying to check Gastineau, ticketed with the foul. Gastineau at 6'5" and 276. A year ago, he went in an off-season weight program, gained 25 pounds, and yet had a 2% loss in body fat, so that was all muscle. Dick Enberg, Cleveland Stadium, 14-3. The Jets leading, third quarter, 11 minutes left. Sipe going long for Newsome. Incomplete and almost intercepted by Ken Schroy. Darrell Ray, 28, was there as well, and Kirk Springs, 45. 3 men on tight end Ozzie Newsome. Even at that, well covered, it appeared Newsome had a 50-50 chance, and he got to the ball first. It was Springs, 45, who got a hand in and tipped the ball away. Springs from Miami of Ohio. Third down and 20 for the Cleveland Browns at their 17-yard line. All the scoring came in the second quarter. The Jets on a touchdown pass that culminated an 80-yard drive. Richard Todd to Lamb Jones, 28 yards, and an 87-yard drive finished with a Todd to Bruce Harper 7-yard pass. Matt Barr's 26-yard field goal, the only scoring for Cleveland. The Browns 5-9 on the year. Greg Pruitt struggling to the 29-yard line. That'll be far short of a first down, and will bring up 4th down and 8. Kirk Springs made the tackle for New York. So the punting team comes on. Steve Cox, who is averaging 43 yards a kick on the season. He was the NCAA punting champion last year at Arkansas. He is 7th in the entire NFL, and he kicks to that outstanding all-purpose back Bruce Harper at the 34 of New York. 10 men on the line of scrimmage for the Jets. Short kick. Harper returnable at the 35, 40, 45, and hammered at the 48, fumbles, and the Jets recover at the 47 of Cleveland. He was hit hard, and the ball jumped 5 yards forward, and the Jets get a great break as they fall on the loose ball. 31-yard punt, 14-yard return. Cleveland Municipal Stadium, the scene, and we're trying to make telephonic contact with our buddy Merlin Olsen in Southern California.
Dick, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I'm not sure you can hear me, Merlin.
Well, I'll listen to you off the set. Enjoyed watching you work.
Hey, you devil, you! You have you sent me to the workhouse, didn't you?
I sent you to the workhouse, but I've appreciated listening to you. I don't think there are many play-by-play men, Dick, who could handle a game by themselves. Very few know as much about football as you do.
Thanks a lot, Merlin. And it's an interception by Clarence Scott as he leaps in front of Jerome Barkham. And oh, how I wish you were here to describe the replay.
Well, I can't do that, but I certainly would like to pass along season's greetings to all of our NBC crew and all the fine people who have watched us throughout the year.
And our love to you and your family, Merlin. We'll look forward to seeing you in a few weeks at the Rose Bowl.
Thank you very much, and go back to work, my friend.
All righty. Merlin Olsen, and for those who might have even thought about calling, I guess there have been some calls back in New York, those who said they'd like one announcer or two announcers. Listen, there's no vote on it. There's going to be two. This has been much too difficult without the analysts. Clarence Scott with the interception, his 4th of the year and his 34th lifetime, and the Browns stop the Jets, have the ball at the 34-yard line. Trailing 14-3. Sipe gets out of trouble as he ducked away from Gastineau. And Gastineau gets him from behind out at the 43-yard line. That shows you the speed of a 276-pounder. Gastineau was about 7 yards downfield and hustled and actually caught Sipe from behind and may have injured himself in the process. He might have caught the heels of Sipe in his stomach as he made the tackle. Sipe feeling Gastineau coming. Watch, he ducks under the pressure as Ryson pushes Gastineau behind. Look how far the ground the Gastineau gains on Sipe. Whoa. Almost 100 pounds heavier and makes the tackle at the 43. He's okay. Short of the first down, credit Sipe with 8 yards on the scramble. Has 19 yards on 3 rushes today. Down the middle, feature. 35-30, 25-21-yard line. 36 yards, Sipe to Ricky Feature, the 6-year veteran from Mississippi Valley. And the Browns' longest gain of the day puts them at the Jet 21. Feature goes out, and Greg Pruitt comes in. Sipe with a play-action fake and a great throw down the middle. You saw the defensive linebacker Buttle fell down, and Ray had trouble keeping his footing, and that allowed Feature with good speed to sprint to the 21-yard line. 8:38 remaining third quarter. It's 14-3 New York. Sipe to Rucker, and an excellent play by Jesse Johnson. Rucker trying to shield the defender away from the ball, and Johnson, in his second year from Colorado, made an excellent play without interfering and still timing his move to reach in front and with a right hand batted away, saving 6 for the Jets. Johnson in the lineup. He's basically a safety and having to play at a corner because of the injuries to Bobby Jackson and Donald Dykes at that left corner spot. Feature right, Newsom slot right, Logan to the left. A fake to Mike Pruitt, and a throw to Greg Pruitt. At the 14-yard line, Darrell Ray of Oklahoma dragged him down short of a first down. They need to get the ball to the 11-yard line for a first down. And a flag is down back at the 5-yard line. A personal foul, face mask against the Jets. Pruitt with a catch, is 4th of the game. The New York Jets were able to overcome some penalty mistakes in the first half as they lead 14-3 in this third quarter. 8:20 remaining. The penalty to the 10 and first and goal, Cleveland.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense, first down.
See if we can pick up the face mask. Yes, Darrell Ray just briefly with the left hand, then he slipped it down to the jersey, but enough that the officials detected, and an added 5-yard penalty. First and goal inside the 10. Charlie White. And so tough to run wide, even though there's pretty good footing at that end of the field where they resodded the baseball surface of Cleveland's Municipal Stadium. Marty Lyons back in the lineup after resting that pulled hamstring, chased down Charles White. 14-3 the score. Midway through the third quarter, the Browns again deep in Jets territory and trying to get something other than a field goal. They've had 1 3-pointer, and they had a field goal from 31 yards blocked. Calvin Hill, in his last home game with the Browns, has joined Greg Pruitt in the backfield. quickly by Sipe. And Buttle's jarring blow to the back, not enough to knock it free. A touchdown for the Browns, their first of the game. And Matt Barr, extra point try out of the hold of Paul McDonald. Barr has not missed an extra point in 45 consecutive tries. That was Hill's first touchdown catch of this season. And he's had many as a pro. 42 touchdowns rushing and 21 others on pass receptions. Kick is good. Calvin Hill out of the backfield. We're going to get his comments about this, his last home game, his last season. Always able to run the good pattern and sure hands. Marvelous target. Touchdown Cleveland. 7:28 left in the third quarter. The Browns pull within 4.
I'll tell you, it's a very, very sad feeling because Paul Canna told me 10 years ago that football is probably the most exciting thing a person can do. And I don't think it's necessarily the most exciting thing, but it's a very interesting and a very exciting business. And I'm going to miss it. There's no question about that. But the world's a feast. It's a banquet. And I think it's time to get on to the other delicacies. I think there are a lot of things out there, and I want to taste as many of them as possible.
Nicely said. The world's a feast, a banquet, and I want to taste some of the other delicacies. Calvin Hill, some say he can do just about anything he wants. Said to us that he'd like to be involved in the front office in the National Football League. Maybe it'll be politics, maybe broadcasting. Interesting, he still wears that Yale varsity letter. Durkin got 3 on first down, and now Tom Newton carries on second down out to the 29-yard line. It'll bring up third down. The New York Jets currently in third place in the AFC East. Miami in first place by a half game over Buffalo, and Buffalo leading the Jets by a half game. If Miami and Buffalo do not tie in their final game, if they do not tie and the Jets win their last 2, the Jets will get a wild card spot. But right now they're in a dogfight with Cleveland, and the Browns, with some momentum, have pulled to 14-10. Third down and 4 from the 28. And it's a first down to Lamb Jones, who gets it across the 35-yard line. 7 yards on the play. Clarence Scott made the tackle. And for Jones, his 4th catch, this is his highest total in a game this year. Coming inside, and then that quickie over the middle. With his speed and the respect that defensive back has to give him, that pattern has to be almost impossible to cover unless you have help from a linebacker. So Jones, with the injury to Wesley Walker, coming through for New York today. 4 catches, including a touchdown. From the 36-yard line. 5 minutes left, third quarter. That one incomplete. That one also intended for Jones. A blind throw by Todd and a dangerous one cross-field. And almost just as well that ball was not on target. It was well covered, and Jones had slipped. And for Dixon, 29 on the coverage. The Browns trying to avoid their 4th consecutive loss. They've also been defeated 5 of their last 6. The Jets, a perfect November, 5-0, but lost their first game this month at Seattle last week. Durkin on a draw. That play's worked all day, and he's dumped at the 42-yard line, about 4 yards short of a first down by Dick Ambrose, the middle linebacker from Virginia. Durkin, such a quality back and a good man to have in a club. He's not one of those heralded runners. He's not going to sprint away from a lot of people, but good bread and butter back. Get you the short yardage. A little quicker than a lot of people give him credit. From the 42-yard line. Third down and 4. Good protection, and open is Gaffney. He can't hang on to the ball. Broken up by number 29, Hanford Dixon. So the rookie from Southern Mississippi makes another solid play. And look at those Browns. You would think they were 9-5 instead of 5-9. Back to return for Sam Rutigliano is Dino Hall as the Jets forced into punt formation. He's at the 17. Chuck Ramsey will deliver from around the 33. Scuffs it. 35, 30, and that's it. So Ramsey has not had a good day punting, and the Browns get the ball on a short kick at their own 30-yard line, still in the third quarter with 4 minutes left. Cleveland now the Plum. That's the new nickname, of course, the Big Apple, New York. And hey, it's great to have a Saturday afternoon at the old football game, isn't it? 14-10, and he's all wrapped up in the excitement of this one in the third quarter. 4 minutes and 15 seconds. We're not even into the holiday season. Trying to put in a wake-up call for next Friday. The Cleveland Browns, 14-10 deficit, but Brian Sipe whipped them on a 65-yard drive in just 2 minutes the last time he had possession. And he's back to throw. In trouble and escapes. Incomplete to Greg Pruitt. Abdul Salam was the man pressuring Sipe, but Sipe quick of foot to elude Salam's second sack. He's the only man with a sack by the exchange today. It's been a bear market for that front four. Brian Sipe, 14 for 27 passing, 183 yards, and 1 touchdown. He sends Logan to the left. And Rucker is slotted left. Check that, it's feature slotted left. Newsom split away top of your screen. Keeps the backs in to block and throws to Greg Pruitt, who dives for a first down at the 42-yard line. So they kept Mike Pruitt in to help out on Klecko, and then sent Pruitt over the middle, Greg Pruitt, for the first down. 12 yards in the play. Greg Pruitt, now primarily a pass receiver after being an outstanding rusher. 5,300 yards coming into this year and a 4.8 average running the football. He was a Heisman Trophy runner-up, back to our pregame theme, in '72 behind Johnny Rodgers. Both Pruitts behind Sipe. First down at the 42. It's Mike. And he's not been able to buy much yards up the middle. The interior defense of the Jets is tough. Lincoln, Crosby, Salam, and Lyons, the tackles all there. So the ball is spotted at the 44. 3:05 left in the third quarter. Second down, 8. Number 71, Matt Miller, into the offensive line for Cleveland, and with a play from Sam Rutigliano as Doug Deacon, who's just suffered through a series of injuries, he's not been healthy all year long, comes out. So Miller is on Gastineau. Flag down. Pass is complete to feature at the 45 of the Jets. But I think we've got a hold against Cleveland. Oh, it's a personal foul face mask against the Browns. So one of those linemen, and making their initial two-handed charge into the defensive player, apparently getting up into the face mask. So instead of a first down at the Jets 45, it'll be 10 minus against the Browns, as Deacon working on that shoulder. Trying to relift 63, Cody Risen, apparently up into the face mask of Gastineau. Back at the 40-yard line. Second down and 12. Browns Browns again have never lost to the Jets. 6-0 in their matches in the past. The last 3 years have beaten them. 2 of those were in overtime, and all 3 Browns wins were by 3 points. A touchdown in this situation would put them ahead by 3. Sipe, 32 years of age, at the controls. 2nd and 12. Sends Pruitt, Gregg in the pattern, and then throws complete to Newsome at the 49-yard line. For Newsome, that is his 67th catch this year. That's a Cleveland record. When he caught his first pass today, it broke Mike Pruitt's mark of last season. 67 receptions for Ozzie Newsome. He is now in the Cleveland record book. Crosby and Schroy made the tackle of the former Bama All-American. In his 4th year, he and Kellen Winslow are regarded as the prototype of the tight end of the 80s. McDonald Oden, second tight end, comes in on 3rd and less than a yard at the 49. Toss to Mike Pruitt. I don't think he made it. He just did get his nose on the Jet side of the 50, and Stan Blinka, 54. Abdul Salam made the stop. It's 4th down. And the game is close at 14-10. And Sam Rutigliano, to the chagrin of the fans here, apparently is not going to go for it. While some of the fans, some of the writers, reporters may be critical of Rutigliano this year, you don't find that from his players. We'll offer you some of that evidence when a moment provides itself. This team really loves its head coach. Harper alone at the Jets' 13. And Cox is going to punt. Short kick. The 20. And a Jets bounce to the 24. Both men have had trouble kicking the ball today on that soft Municipal Stadium turf. 25 yards on that effort. Giant horseshoe refrigerator on banks of Lake Erie, Cleveland Stadium. Temperature down below freezing. The Jets have the ball and a 14-10 lead. 43 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Newton and Durking behind Richard Todd. It's Newton. Dropped for a loss at the 22-yard line. Robert L. Jackson made the play. Jackson, a very enthusiastic hitter. Stonewall was the number 2 tackler last year. Had 3 sacks and a couple of interceptions. He's had to be cooled down emotionally by his coach Rutigliano, because sometimes he gets so wrapped up that he's been guilty of overzealous hitting and penalties. And at mid-year was scolded by his coach and told that he had to stop being penalized or he's going to sit on the sidelines. 2nd and 11, 2 seconds, 1 second, and that is the end of the 3rd quarter. So the Jets will have time to think about that 2nd and 11 play call. The end of the 3rd period in Cleveland. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Heritage of this great football franchise, the Cleveland Browns. There are their Hall of Famers: Brown, Graham, Motley, another Brown, Groza, Lavelli, Ford, Willis, many other outstanding stars there featured. That's the all-time Cleveland Brown team. After 3 periods, the statistics. Now the Browns have moved ahead in possession and in yardage and in passing yardage. And Brian Sipe, his counterpart, Richard Todd, to throw. Has a man open. It's Bruce Harper. And he's out of bounds right at the 41-yard line, they mark it. And Harper again comes up with a big play, an 18-yard gain. High school friend of star John Travolta. And Bruce Harper's had a spotlight on him these last 2 years. He gets himself open deep and out of bounds on the sidelines to stop the clock. First play of the 4th quarter. First down at the 41-yard line. Durking brought down, and for moment appeared he was about to lose the football. Robert L. Jackson, 56, dragging Scott Durking down at the 40-yard line, a loss of 1. It'll be 2nd down and 11. Clarence Scott, number 22. We talked about the love that these players have for their coach, Sam Retigliano. If we have a chance after the next play, we're going to give you just one of the comments about Retigliano from his players. It's 2nd and 11. Passing situation for Todd. He sends Barkham left, Lamb Jones, and Gaffney slotted right. And he goes instead up the middle to Newton, who plows to the 44, where it's 3rd and 7. Here's Clarence Scott, the veteran from Kansas State, and his feelings about his head coach.
Coaches have a tendency to look down on players and think that you really have to overpower players to get out of them what it is you want to get out of them. Retigliano is not like that. He's a guy that's totally involved with you as a person and as a man and as well as a player. And he tries to get your playing ability out of you by relating to you as a person and as a man.
The respect of Clarence Scott for Sam Retigliano, and that was echoed time and time again as we chatted to these Browns yesterday. An unsportsmanlike penalty has been called against the Jets. 15 big ones. Unfortunately, because of the weather frozen up, the microphone is frozen. It appeared that he said 44, but that wouldn't make sense. But an unsportsmanlike call. Well, it could, yes. Newton, it could have been the ball carrier. Newton said something to the official. 4-man rush now for the Cleveland Browns and 5 defensive backs on 3rd and long. And they go to Durking inside, and he's back out to the 40-yard line. So Durking again gets big yardage on the delay, the draw. Thomas Brown, in the tradition of the Cleveland Browns, they've got another Brown, number 97. Clay Matthews, 57, stopped Durking short of the first down, 4th and 11. And Ramsey, due to drill one, will kick this one from around the 30 to Dino Hall at the Browns 20. 13 minutes left in the game. The Jets trying to fly into the playoffs. The Browns, their season, one hop, and Ramsey, a great job and a great kick. Beautiful spiral to the 14. And Hall gets it out to the 20. Chuck Ramsey showing that he not only has a strong leg, but excellent hands as he short hopped that ball like a shortstop and then drilled a 46-yard punt. Timeout, 12:53 left. From left to right toward the open end of Municipal Stadium in Cleveland, and the wind, they say 10 to 15 miles an hour, but don't think it's quite that tough on Sipe as he makes his passes in the 4th quarter. 12:53 left. The Jets have been ahead throughout, 7-0, 7-3, then 14-3 at the half. The Browns have scored in the 3rd quarter to tighten the game at 14-10, and Cleveland with the ball at the 20-yard line, 1st down after the punt. Newsome is open, and he has it at the 40-yard line. Ken Schroy made the tackle, but a beautiful pump fake by Sipe, and Newsome on the pump made his little cut up field after indicating to Schroy that he was going to run a curl and was wide open. In fact, had the pass been thrown a little longer, that might have been worth 35, 40 yards. Watch Sipe set up the defensive back with a pump fake. At this point, Newsome making his curl now heads up field and is wide open. Pass a little short, and Schroy from behind downing him at the 40. And that is a new record for Sipe, the most attempts ever by a Cleveland quarterback in a year, and that's Feature open. 30, 25 into the 22-yard line. Ricky Feature wide open, and Sipe with a perfect throw, and the Browns are deep in Jets territory. 38 yards. Feature, nothing fancy about it, just finding the seam in the zone, and was all alone in the middle. Somebody either fell or blew an assignment, and Del Ray, 28, saved a touchdown at the 21-yard line. So the Browns trailing 14-10. are in scoring position with 11 minutes and 20 seconds left. Newsom split right. Pruitt and Miller behind. And it's Mike Pruitt to the 15-yard line. And Cleo Miller did a great job of helping out on the defensive end. Gastineau, 7 yards on the play. That was part of the game plan for Ritigliano. Miller, number 30, goes out now, but to use that second fullback to try to slow down the defensive charge of the two great ends, Klecko and Gastineau. Michael's a realist. He knows that the future of this team, 2 games, all up to the Jets. They can't wait for somebody else to help them out. Jets have to win 2 really to get in the playoffs. A loss, and they're probably through. Mike Pruitt, first down and more to the 7-yard line. Ken Troy, 48, made the tackle. Mike Pruitt, who has been held in check all day, rips off 10 yards and a first down at the 6-yard line. He's had another banner year. Slow starting after a #1 pick out of Purdue in '76, but the last 3 years, 1,000 yards on each occasion. And he had his best game in his last one against Houston, 155 yards. It's first and goal at the 6. Mike Pruitt got a couple. Looks as if he stopped at the 4-yard line. Up the middle behind the blocks of Sullivan, the center for the injured Tom DeLeon, and the guards Delamalure and Shepard. Walt Michaels, of course, his brother was a National Football League star for more than a decade. Lou Michaels, defensive player and also left-footed place kicker. Brooklyn-born Ritigliano. His team has come back in the second half and now trying to go in the lead. Second and goal from the 4. Mike Pruitt. Oh, is he hit right at the line of scrimmage? May have stumbled forward for a yard. Ron Crosby, 55, in quickly, and up from the safety, Del Ray, 28. Brian Sipe down deep in the opponent's territory. Does he call the plays, or is it Ritigliano's choice?
I prepare myself to call all of the plays during the game. We do have a situation where in the short yardage and goal line, when the extra blocking personnel comes in and we get into the tight formation on 3rd down and a yard or down in the scoring zone, when those plays come from the bench, that was a policy that we established a long time ago.
And whether that play was called by Sipe or Ritigliano, it's incomplete to Logan in the end zone and well covered by Jesse Johnson. He's earning his spurs today. Second-year man from Colorado. Sipe unhappy, so are the fans. They wanted the Browns to go for a touchdown, but the field goal unit comes on. 4th and goal. Let's see that play again as Johnson. That's the second time today he's been able to reach in at the last moment and deflect the pass away in the end zone. Barr, a short 20-yard attempt. And it's right down the middle. So Cleveland settles for 3. And with a timeout, 8:23 remaining in the game, the New York Jets, a good goal line stand. They're able to stop the Browns outside the end zone, but their lead is down to 1. Jesse Johnson has come up with some big plays, playing at a strange position cornerback, and here's one of them, just getting there in time to bat it away from Dave Logan. Johnson was kidding me. He said, well, I know you're working alone today, but I had a little experience out at the NBC station in Denver this past year. He said, from long range, I'll be your color man, your analyst, and by his performance, he's come through today. He's got a sister who's also an outstanding athlete, a star collegiate volleyball player. Down to 1 point, the Jets lead. And an onside kick. No, they faked the onside kick and hit it deep to Harper. Harper running right, and that's where all the Browns were, and he stopped at the 27-yard line. Tackle made by Dino Hall. A little surprised that with all the Browns on the left on the fake, that Harper didn't elect to come back to the left side, but they had already called the return to the right, and the Browns had guessed correctly. So they had their strength on the same side that the Jets had called their return. Now the Jets have lost momentum here in the second half, and their lead, once 14-3, is down to a single point as they've been outscored 10-0 since the intermission. Todd comes out throwing, and a great catch by Jones right off the top of the grass. Lamb Jones' 5th reception in his best day of the year. Clarence Scott on the coverage, 11 yards for the former University of Texas Longhorn. Watch this acrobatic effort. A cold day, cold hands, and able to reach out and claw that one to his grasp. An excellent play. Ball at the 38-yard line. Gaffney left, Jones right, Lamb Jones right. And a give to Kevin Long, who's only carried the ball one other time today, and he's out to the 44-yard line. Clay Matthews, number 57, made the tackle. Matthews from a very talented family. His dad, Clay, was a San Francisco 49er for many years, and his brother Bruce is a junior star offensive lineman with the University of Southern California. There you see him, Matthews, putting the tackle on Long, but not until Kevin had picked up a good gain of 6. Todd on 2nd and 4, right back to Long. No gain. Outside linebacker, number 50 from Kansas, made the play. Former San Diego Charger. It'll be 3rd down and 4 for the Jets with 6 minutes and 38 seconds left. Browns come on with their short yardage defense, bringing a couple of extra defensive linemen. The veteran Jerry Shirk is in there. 12th year, Oklahoma State. Gaffney right, Lamb Jones left. Todd on 3rd and 4. Almost intercepted by Clay Matthews. It would have been a sure touchdown. Matthews, 57, with his drop and reading the quarterback, reacts to the ball and cuts in front of Durking, and that would have been 6 points. Inside linebacker in college, and adjusting to the outside, has had a big season. So the Browns trailing by 1, apparently about to get the ball again. Dino Hall back at his 16, another low snap, and another poor kick by Ramsey. He's had his worst day of the year, and the Browns have the ball at their 28-yard line. Timeout with 6 minutes and a second remaining. And the New York Jets, will they be able to fight off the Browns and win here in Cleveland today? Their lead is just 1, and that was a 27-yard punt. Every other team in football, high school, college, professional, all those locker room reminders. Brian Sipe, who's had a big second half, is 19 for 32. He's established a new Cleveland record, most attempts in a season. He's around 560 for the year. He's closing in on 300 yards today, and his team trails the Jets 14-13. A short kick, another by Ramsey, and the Browns have the ball at their own 28-yard line. That's Newsom split left, Logan and Feature to the right. Here's Feature in motion. And down goes Sipe. Abdul Salam, the defensive tackle, and that is the second sack today by the NFL leaders, both by Salam. Gastineau and Klecko lead the league with 18 apiece, but Salam has both traps of the quarterback today. He played his football near here at Kent State under the Larry Falk, his name then. Changed it to Abdul Salam, soldier of peace in Arabic. College teammate of Jack Lambert at Kent State. 11 yards on that sack. and a big one for the Jets. Second down, 21. Sipe in a pass situation. The Jets loosen that deep defense. Down the middle, Newsome. Did he come up with it? No. Well covered by Springs and Buttle, and Sipe and Newsome both thought he made a good catch. The umpire says no. And he had a great look at it. He was looking just 8 yards away, right into the play. Let's see on the replay if we can pick it up. Of course, we're going to be screened from this angle. Newsome going down. He seems to have the ball there, but we can't see what's happening underneath him, whether or not he might have rolled over the ball. Another angle. Tough call and tough to tell. We have all those 7 cameras, but sometimes even the brilliance of Larry Cirillo and Ted Nathanson, in producing and directing, you can't always get the camera in the right spot. Third and long. Out of the backfield to Miller. But the Jets had that one read well, and he stopped at the 25-yard line, far short of the first down. 8 yards in the play. Sipe goes out. And Steve Cox and the punting team comes on with 5 minutes exactly remaining. Clock is running. Now the Jets would love nothing more than to get the football and keep it on the ground, chew up the clock, perhaps add to their 14-13 lead. Bruce Harper will be the return man. We got a time called. One of the Cleveland Browns players shaken up on that last play. Might have been Deacon again. No, it was number 79, Jerry Sullivan. Sullivan being helped off the field. Does not appear to be anything serious. Sullivan, the 8-year veteran from the University of Illinois. We said earlier that Sam Rutigliano has never been reluctant to gamble. He's not done anything but the conservative today, but you never know. Ozzie Newsome, because Sullivan is the snapper, and that's a big loss. Ozzie Newsome, talk about athletic skill. He's the one designated to snap the ball. Tight end. Cold day, soft turf, pretty good snap. And they get it away. Good kick. At the 34. Holding that ball dangerously. He returns it right to his number, the 42. 40-yard punt by Cox, and you've got to credit Ozzie Newsome with a good snap. That's just a good athlete. Little low, but he got the ball there. 4 minutes and 25 seconds remaining in the game, and the Jets have the ball at their 42-yard line. Look at Oz. That's the part that'll make him a tight end in a hurry. He kept his head down, and he almost got it pushed right back into his shoulder pads. This is why coaches have a tough time getting volunteers to be the snapper. Keep your head down and pray they don't hit you too hard. Ozzie Newsome, he'll be happy when Jerry Sullivan's back in to assume that role. 4:25 left. The Jets have the ball and a tenuous 14-13 lead. Todd throwing for 2 touchdowns in the first half, and that's been it. Durkee. Clay Matthews from behind got to him first. At the 45-yard line, a gain of about 3. Ambrose also in on the stop. And Lyle Alzado. Clock runs, 4:07, 4:06. The Jets go home to Green Bay, their final game. Sure, around the country, there are many interested viewers, particularly those that wear the uniforms of the Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills, and others fighting for that wild card berth. 2nd and 7. Good hole for Kevin Long at the 49. He's finally stopped. And that'll be shy about 2.5 yards of a first down. Ambrose and Scott collaborated on the stop. Henry Bradley got a piece of it too. Mark Gastineau on the Jets sidelines hoping he doesn't have to go back in. Of course, the Browns trying to get the football for Brian Sipe for one final charge, and a field goal would do it for them. Third down, more than 2. 4 defensive linemen for the Browns, an 8-man front. Durking, leading rusher for the Jets, and he's got a first down, and what an effort. Scott Durking, contact made at the 50, and the 220-pound running back out of Purdue refused to be brought down. And he's playing with injuries on a team that has suffered more than its share this year. Watch this second effort again. Durking following the block of Kevin Long and Randy Rasmussen, but he's hit right there at the 50, and he just takes Tom Darden and says, you're not going to bring me down until I have the first down at the 46. 61 yards to top all rushers today. And the clock runs at the 2:23 mark. That was a big first down. God using plenty of time. Gives to Long, and he's got some running room. And a first down at the 32 of Cleveland. Tom Darden made the tackle, and that will probably take it down to the 2-minute warning. Joe Klecko, 73. Mark Gastineau, 99. Did not have a sack today. Their teammate Abdul Salam had a pair, and the Jets defense has held the Browns to 13, and that may be enough. Or with just 2 minutes left, the Jets have the ball and a big 1-point advantage. New York Jets, a couple of big first downs and trying to run out the clock. 2 minutes left, and lead the Cleveland Browns 14-13. Have a first down at the Cleveland 32-yard line. Walt Michaels' club losing only 2 times in the last 11 games. They had a tie with Miami and the 2 losses to Seattle after dropping their first 3 games to start the year. I want to thank so many people, minus the invaluable Merlin Olsen today, that have filled in and in the booth. Pete Halvin, John Betchko, our spotters, Don Dravis, John Wag, Gary Schulich, all for their help, and of course all our technicians and cameramen and production crew. It's an experience that I hope will be a one-time only. First down play. Durking picking his way, and all the way to the 20-yard line, and another first down as he gobbles up another dozen yards. Good, and Darden made the tackle, and the Browns call time. Scott Durking, nicknamed the Coke Machine for his short, square build, 5'10" and 220, but he has quick feet here. He slides through the hole, feels the pressure from Matthews, cuts to the right side, and carries 3 Browns for 12. The Browns exercise their first timeout. Special thanks to Joe Costanza, who came equipped with extra pencils and pads today for all his statistical work, and the comfort of knowing that our regular producer Larry Cirillo and veteran director Ted Nathanson working with us down in the truck. We told some of the reporters asking us about working alone is trying to draw the analogy of a baseball infield, and taking Merlin Olsen out of the lineup is like playing the infield without a third baseman, and everyone's had to stretch today. And I think we've all learned one very important thing is my goodness, it's a lot more work when you just take one guy away. Besides that, I missed all that 240 pounds of body heat that Merlin took away. At the 20-yard line, the Jets with 1:50 left. First down. Durking again. And this time he swallowed up in a sea of Brown and immediate timeout at the 19-yard line. Looking at it from the Jets' point of view, the Browns are in a pinch. They have about 1 timeout left. If the Jets get another first down, the game is over. For Ritigliano in Cleveland, with 1 timeout left, they conceivably, if they stop the Jets here, could force them into a field goal situation and would have perhaps a half-minute left to try to get something dramatic. Ritigliano, while under some criticism, he nevertheless has maintained his poise under that kind of pressure. And he said coaches worry too much about what everybody else is thinking. And he said, that's stupid. Everyone else is thinking about himself. The only thing I have to lose in Cleveland is my address. said so very well by Clarence Scott. He's treated everyone like a man. He doesn't yell at us. And that's why his team, although totally out of it, has forced the Jets to play to full capacity, and Walt Michaels' club leading by only a point and trying to hold on to the ball and deny Cleveland a final chance. The Browns would drop to 5-10. The Jets would move up to 9-5-1, and one victory away from what would be almost certainly a playoff wild card spot. Jets can start to celebrate. Their cheerleader these past few years, Tom Newton, number 44, leading the emotions on the sidelines. And here's a look at the Jets as they were watching Todd's play. Newton, 44. And as Todd pulls it off, see 93 as well for the Jets, Marty Lyons and Todd. And if the Jets win it, they'll move up to 9-5-1. The Browns have used their last timeout with 1:32 left. Those are the best records in the AFC. Cincinnati, as we started, leading. Denver leading its division. Miami leading. They would be in if the season were over, with Buffalo and the Jets wild card. Of course, that's not the case. There are other teams still involved in the wild card. Could we have that other panel, the other teams, of course, that say, hey, don't forget about us. We still have a chance, although a Jets win might indeed eliminate some of the other clubs going for the wild card. There's 4 other teams in the AFC: San Diego, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, and Oakland, still with a chance starting this weekend's play. Pittsburgh with a very important assignment tomorrow against the Cincinnati Bengals at home at Riverfront Stadium, and that'll be one of our key games here on NBC. The Jets have stayed on the ground 7 plays and have eaten up the clock and have a 1st and goal, and now it's Todd just sitting on the ball, and it'll be an exercise of a couple of more snaps, and this one will be over. Walt Michaels making certain, as he points to the clock, that no chances are taken. 30 seconds between plays. Sam Rutigliano gave his opponents a good test today. Miami has to play tomorrow at Kansas City, another big game here for NBC Sports, and then finish at home against Buffalo. Buffalo at New England tomorrow. Patriots in the same role that the Browns had today here against the Jets, trying to upset the apple cart. And then at Miami in a crucial finale. And the Jets finish at home against Green Bay, but the Jets have taken one of the big steps this afternoon toward the playoffs in beating the Browns. Cincinnati at Pittsburgh tomorrow, and then play at Atlanta. And those are two tough final games for the Bengals. Pittsburgh has to finish at Houston, a team, of course, that has its own special rivalry with the Steelers. Denver, Seattle, then at Chicago. San Diego, 2 tough games. Tampa Bay at home against Oakland, and Kansas City, Miami, and at Minnesota. 10 seconds left. The New York Jets and Cleveland Browns bid farewell at this juncture of the 1981 season. Walt Michaels' team has beaten Sam Rutigliano's Browns. The final score here at Municipal Stadium in cold Cleveland, Ohio. The Jets 14, the Browns 13. In a moment, we'll continue to review the action of today's game.
This chapter in what has been a very frustrating season for the Cleveland Browns. A couple of gentlemen here to discuss that frustration. We're going to spend some moments with. I've got Calvin Hill next to me. We'll get to him in a minute. But first, let's turn it over to Pete Axtell, who's with Brian Sight. Peter?
Brian, same old story for the Browns today. A lot of yards, no points, no victory. Describe how you feel throughout this year. What's been going on?
Well, I think the word that comes to mind has got to be frustration. It's certainly been a frustrating year, particularly coming off the season like we had last year. And I think that what's so frustrating for us is that not only was it gratifying for ourselves, but gratifying for the whole town. And this town loves a winner, and they were so good to us. I think we all really wanted to respond. And it's just been one of those years when we haven't had the breaks and we haven't had the big plays when we needed them. And comes a point when you put up or you shut up, and frankly, I almost feel like shutting up.
Well, don't quite yet. I think every Brown and every Brown fan is asking the question. Maybe you can answer it. What happens when you get inside the 20? What goes wrong?
We've had an unbelievable amount of penalties this year in the scoring position. I've never seen anything quite like that. And then I don't know. I think that we're going to have to spend a considerable amount of time in the off-season reanalyzing, reevaluating what it is that we're doing down there, what we're trying to do down there. We certainly have had our problems. I think the biggest thing is that nobody's come up with the big play. I have to feel responsible somewhat myself. I'm the director of the big play. I got to make it happen too, but the fact of the matter is it just hasn't happened.
You waited a long time to reach Player of the Year last year. Now a slide back down. How does it feel?
Well, I realized what happened to me last year was a collective award. I mean, we had a tremendous amount of I had a tremendous amount of cooperation with the team last year, and I think anybody that's had that award realizes that the people around them were doing some pretty great things. So it's kind of tough for all of us, but it's certainly nothing that you expect to win year after year. I'm just happy that I had it. Sam reminded me a couple weeks ago that nobody can take it away from me. So I can still smile when we talk about it, but right now that's not what's important. What was important was winning this game today, but more importantly, getting things right so that when we start the season next year, it'll be right.
Okay, Brian, thanks very much for stopping to talk to us. Brian?
Okay, Peter, you know, the word class, I think, oftentimes dealing with people in this league is a bit overworked, and so I'm going to use it one more time, but also add that I am standing with a gentleman of great dignity, a man that's been admired around this league for a long time and now is stepping aside. And Calvin Hill, as you step aside, what thoughts do you leave with?
Well, just it's been a beautiful experience. You know, I've been fortunate enough to play for some of the great coaches, you know, Tom Landry, George Allen, and ending up here in Cleveland with Sam. And it's been a delight.
Are you satisfied with the life, with the way it has gone?
Well, ideally, I'd like to be announcing my retirement in Pontiac. But, you know, other than that, I can't complain. I mean, I would have liked to have won this game. But, you know, I've been luckier than a lot of players.
Does the winning and the losing still measure as heavily in your mind as it did when you were a youngster out of Yale?
I think so. I think, you know, the key to a football game is to go in and analyze and try to figure out what went wrong, and then to correct it, and then next week to benefit from that correction. And so, you know, it's always a learning experience that, you know, and the learning shows the next week. And so it's a great game. And, you know, I've been fortunate to play 12 years in the NFL. I've been to the Super Bowls, and I can't complain. I really can't complain.
Calvin, you're a tremendous gentleman. You'll have a ton of opportunities when you leave, and I don't know if Don Omar wants me to do this, but we'd love to have you come to see us.
Thank you.
We're going to step aside. We'll be back right after this. Loser, their record drops now to 5-10. The Jets move to 9-5-1. They come up a winner. Final score 14-13. It was really a sloppy ball game throughout the first half, but Todd Harper in a 4th and 3 situation kept the drive alive when the ball game was still scoreless. The play covered 7 yards. And as you heard Richard Todd talk about, he then went to Johnny Jones, man out of Texas who enjoyed his finest ball game as a pro. 28-yard touchdown put the Jets out in front, 7-0. The Browns came right back. Dino Hall took the ball at his goal line, brought it back to midfield, a 50-yard return. But as has been the case all year long, the Browns could not push the ball in from close, and Matt Barr, 26-yard field goal was all they came away with. It made it 7-3. Just before the half ended, with just 24 seconds left, Todd Harper, 8 yards, moved the Jets in front, 14-3. That was to be the last of the Jets' points. As for the Browns' defense, it kept rising up, as Clarence Scott did there, to stop the Jets. But the only touchdown Brian Stipe could engineer was this throw to Calvin Hill across the middle. Throughout the ball game, though, the Browns just could not get any more. They threatened. This pass to Ricky Feature got them close, but after getting a 1st and goal set up at the 6-yard line, they once again had to settle for a field goal from Matt Barr. It was a case of a missed opportunity, and once that opportunity went by the boards, so did the Browns' chances for a victory. And so it's been a busy day, but I think instead of doing our usual credits, I will defer that honor to my man, Dick Enberg. Take it away, Richard.
Brian, thank you very much. One of the things I miss most about not having Merlin Olsen here was just, well, I don't like to go to a movie alone or to any game alone, and I miss that personal relationship, and we'll look forward to being with him again soon. Final score 14-13. Thanks to all the NFL 81 game, and thanks to our very special list of composers who provided the music for our telecast today. Coordinating producer of football, Ted Nathanson. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Don Ohlmeyer. Today's telecast was produced by Larry Cirillo, directed by Ted Nathanson. NFL 81 was produced by David Neal and directed by Bob Levy. Technical director Bill Toby. Associate producers Michael Hadley. Associate director John Libretto and David Hoffman. Playoff bids are on the line, and tomorrow, big day of NFL football action on NBC Sports. Join Brian for all the scores, highlights, and late-breaking news from around the league on NFL 81. Then it's regional football action. Cincinnati can clinch the AFC Central with a win at Pittsburgh, and San Diego is in a must-win situation at Tampa Bay, plus many other big games, all important to the overall playoff picture. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. That's all tomorrow on NBC Sports. The final again from Cleveland's Municipal Stadium, the New York Jets 14, Cleveland Browns 13.
This has been a presentation of NBC Sports, the leader in...
The other New York team confronted a grim challenge in mud-drenched Cleveland last Saturday. Walt Michaels' Jets faced a Browns club that they'd never beaten. And with Brian Sipe passing for 280 yards, it appeared that the status quo would be maintained. Sipe chipped away at a Jets team that was mired in the muck of mediocrity for most of the contest. But New York eventually put its best foot forward and shook off the Cleveland threat. The Jets came clean on 2 Richard Todd scoring passes, including a 28-yarder to Lamb Jones' number 80. And they stayed in the playoff picture with a 14-13 win. While New York's teams were...